Hello everyone. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been doing so far in math. So let's get started. Let's talk about what an array is. An array is simply an organized drawing, really, of items. So an array is not that, because that's really not organized. There are items there, but they're not very organized. An array is basically, we see a lot of it using dots, but you could use other items if you wanted to. So it's an organized drawing. Now notice when I have that they're all in line there, and that these ones over here are right or as close to underneath each other as possible. So think organized when you have to draw your own arrays. And we use arrays because they are an easy way to sort of put items together, and they help us with multiplication. And many things that we deal with in life are organized in arrays. If you think about how we sit in a movie theater, for example, or on the bus, or how items are stacked up in the stores, they're basically everywhere. And so when we think about arrays, oh, by the way, that's how you spell the word array. You can think about a couple of things. So I'm going to draw an array right now. And right now we are just talking about the word row. A row is horizontal. It goes from side to side like the horizon, right? The horizon line. And this is a row. This is a row. This is a row in an array. The reason, or one of the ways that I think of a row is, and remember that it's side to side, is that you're thinking about rowing a boat. So someone rowing a boat is going to move the canoe from side to side. Your arms go side to side. Someone does not use a canoe paddle or a boat paddle up and down. That's different. So when you row your boat, think about an array being sideways. So arrays have rows. They also have columns, but we're not going to talk about columns right now. And we are usually asked how many rows are there. So you literally have to just count them. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 rows in this array. And that we are going to refer to as the number of groups. You can think of a row as the same thing right now as a group. So there are 3 rows, or the number of groups in this array is 3, okay? And then you have to think about how many are in each of the rows. How many X's are in each row? Well, this is one row, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. There are 3 X's in each row. That we can think of as the size of the group. So let's give an example. Even without an array, you can think of the number of groups and the size of groups. So let's say we have, I'm just going to do circles, okay? Okay. So take a look over here. How many groups do we have? The number of groups. Well, we got to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 groups total. But then we want to know how many circles in each group. Each means in a single group, and they're all the same, they're all equal. In one of these single groups, how many circles are there? Count them. 1, 2, 3. 3. So the size of the group is 3 circles. That's going to be something that you'll need to really start to think about as we move into multiplication. Let's see. When I have something that gives me an array, you see what I'm drawing as close to underneath as possible? And it says, what's the number of rows? If I'm getting confused, I will just literally circle them and count them. And that way I know exactly what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. What are the number of objects in each row? Well, again, got to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. When you think about making a repeated addition sentence, this is something that we were working on earlier this week. Repeated addition, which simply means adding the same number over and over and over again. You think about it this way. How many here are in each group? How many dots? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 dots in there, and because they are all equal, since we're dealing with multiplication, there are 5 dots here, there are 5 dots here. If you were to add up all of this together, what is a repeated addition equation that you could write? Well, you got to say 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals, count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, equals 15. So the repeated addition sentence is simply the number, the size of the group, which is 5, how many times that number occurs, how many times that size happens. Well, let's look. How many groups do we have? 1, 2, 3. How many groups of 5s do we have here? 1, 2, and 3. So that's your repeated addition sentence. That's the beginning of thinking about multiplication. It's basically skip counting. And sometimes your numbers get way too big to skip count. So eventually there's an easier way for that. So let's think about this. If you have 5 rows of triangles, I usually, if I'm drawing it, I will draw the rows first to make sure I'm doing it correctly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my row goes horizontally, and I have 3 triangles, let's do 4 triangles in each of the rows. That is the size of the group, is 4. The number of groups is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I am asked to write a multiplication equation for this particular array. I'm going to think to myself the number of groups. Okay, so 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of, that's my multiplication symbol. Of, it also represents the word of, right? 5 groups of the size of the group. How many are in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 5 groups of 4. So my multiplication equation is 5 times 4 equals what? Eventually you'll memorize this, and then you'll keep it in your head for the rest of your life. But in the meantime, you can count by 4s. This is a 4, this is a 4, this is a 4, this is a 4, this is a 4. So you can say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So that's that. If you wanted to write a repeated addition sentence for that, you would say 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. And that would be 4, the size of your group, 5 of 5 groups. So, so this is tricky, but it's also really fun. It's like a puzzle in a way. All right, so that's that, and we'll move on to how to draw arrays in the next video.